Hi there everyone, and welcome to Pack 172. I'm your Den Leader Jackson. Let's start as we always do with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise and give the Scout salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now let's continue with the Scout Oath. Scout sign. On my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country and to obey the Scout law, to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight. And now, the Scout law. A Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. 2. Great job, everyone. Well, you know what that sound means. It's time to sing a song.
A song! It's time to sing a song, yeah!
This is one of my absolute favorite songs. It's called Old Mother Leary, and it goes a little something like this. Late one night when we were all in bed, Old Mother Leary left a lantern in the shed, and when the cow kicked it over, she winked her eye and said, "There's gonna be a hot time in the old town tonight. Fire, fire, fire!" Think you got it? Why don't you try this time? Late one night when we were all in bed, Old Mother Leary left a lantern in the shed, and when the cow kicked it over, she winked her eye and said, "There's gonna be a hot time in the old town tonight. Fire, fire, fire!" Okay, now let's go a little bit faster. Late one night when we were all in bed, Old Mother Leary left a lantern in the shed, and when the cow kicked it over, she winked her eye and said, "There's gonna be a hot time in the old town tonight. Fire, fire!" And now for the real challenge. Let's sing this song backwards. Night one laid, when bed and all were we, Old Leary Mother left to shed the lantern in, and then the kick cowed it over. She eyed her wink and said, "There's gonna be an old time on the hot town tonight. Arif, arif, arif!" Great job, guys. That was amazing. Now let's get into this week's lesson. Fire is a chemical reaction that releases light and heat. Fires require fuel, oxygen, and heat to burn. And while fire can be very destructive, it's important to understand that not all fire is bad. In fact, fire is used every day to make our lives better. We cook with it, warm our houses with it, and we even enjoy roasting marshmallows while camping because of fire. Let's learn a little bit more about fire as we watch this short video. Fire is an event or occurrence, not a thing. It's a process in which substances combine chemically with oxygen from the air and typically give out bright light, heat, and smoke. Earth is the only known planet where fire can burn. Everywhere else, there's not enough oxygen. Oxygen supply influences the color of the flame. A low oxygen fire contains lots of uncombusted fuel particles and will give off a yellow light. A high oxygen fire burns blue. Fires can be stopped in 3 ways. Removing the fuel source from it by exhausting or taking it away, removing the oxygen by smothering the fire, and removing the heat by absorbing it with water. If fire can be used to make our lives better, then that means fire is a tool. That's right, and as a tool, it should be used carefully and only by an adult. Remember, fire is a tool, not a toy. You should never play with fire, and if you find matches or a lighter laying around, you should never pick them up or play with them and tell an adult immediately. Did you know that you can make a difference in helping to keep your home fire safe? Well, you can, and it's easy. Here are some things you can do. Keep your eye out for fire hazards and alert your parents if you see any concerns. Ask your parents to make a family fire escape plan. Using your family escape plan, practice with your family what to do if you smell smoke, or if the smoke detector sounds. Remember not to play around the kitchen stove, fireplace, or heaters. Remind your parents to test smoke detectors once a month. And with your parents' help, write on your family calendar 2 times a year to change the batteries in your smoke detectors. For our activity this week, Pack 172's very own science expert, Sam, is going to be walking us through an experiment that you can do at home with a little help from a parent or guardian. Take it away, Sam.
Hi, this is Sam, your program director for the Hawkeye Area Council. And when it
comes to camping, one of the most memorable parts for Scouts is the campfire. Everybody looks forward to being able to sit around the campfire, relaxing, telling stories, and sharing songs. The experiments that I have for you today have to do with fire, and specifically combustion, a little bit about the science behind fire, and how to make fires safely. Every fire, no matter how big or how small, needs 3 ingredients in order for it to light. And we call those 3 ingredients, when put together, the combustion triangle. Combustion is the scientific term for fire. Your first ingredient is fuel, something that your fire is going to eat. And Scouts are really good at this. It's sticks, wood, leaves, and the like. The next ingredient you have to have is oxygen, which is easy to find. It's all the way around us all the time. The last ingredient that you have to have is heat. I tend to cheat, I'll be honest, and I use a fire starter. There are other sources of heat that you can use to start fires as well, including friction or electricity. All 3 ingredients are required to be there or your fire is just not going to happen. So, take a look here at these candles I have in front of me. I have all 3 ingredients for combustion right here with my candles. The oxygen can be found all around us in the air. I used my fire starter as my cheater for the heat part. And the last is the fuel, which is the wick and the wax in my candle. If you take away even one of these 3 ingredients, your fire is going to go out. That's just it. To get rid of the heat, you'd put water on top of your fire. We do that all the time. To get rid of your fuel, you would let your fire burn all the way out. Once you're out of fuel, your fire's gone. To get rid of the oxygen is a little trickier though, because that's all the time all around us. It's not something that we can get rid of easily. So, we can put something over top of our fire. As the oxygen eats away and you're out of that oxygen around the fire, it's going to go out. One other way that we can get rid of our fire, the oxygen around there, is by blowing on our fire. When we breathe in oxygen, but we breathe out carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is heavier and pushes oxygen out of the way. So, let's move on to our Cub activity. Our very first one is making a homemade fire extinguisher. When I work with Cubs and with Scouts BSA aged kids, the first thing that I make them do is take a safety pledge to make sure that they're being safe when we're doing experiments like this. My safety pledge is usually pretty short. I promise not to try these tricks at home. The gestures are fun, but it's memorable for the kids, and then they're more apt to want to go along with what you're doing. For this experiment, you will need a plate, a measuring cup, an assortment of candles. I'm using small tea candles, a 1 teaspoon measure, baking soda, vinegar, and some way to light your candles on fire. First thing we're going to do is put our measuring cup in the middle of our plate. This is going to make cleanup a whole lot easier. I already have my candles lit, and I don't want to mess with that later, so I'll start with doing that now. I am going to measure 2 teaspoons of baking soda and put it into the bottom of my measuring cup here, while making a giant mess at the same time. I've measured out 1/4 of a cup of vinegar ahead of time, and I have that in my glass here. I will pour the vinegar into my baking soda, and Cubs love this. It's fun and it makes a mess. We've created an acid-base chemical reaction, and where my glass was empty before, I have 3 new substances inside. The first is a liquid that we can find right here in the bottom. That's just basic water. The white stuff at the bottom is kind of a white sludge. That's sodium acetate. I don't really need to worry about that. It's safe, not what I need for this experiment. What I have inside here that we can't see is a whole lot of carbon dioxide. And I can use this to put our candles out with this homemade fire extinguisher.
Were you excited for the Hawkeye Area Council Day Camp and disappointed when it was canceled? I know I was. Keep your eyes peeled for up in the next few days for an exciting surprise. That's it for this episode of Pack 172. Please like our Facebook page, subscribe to the show on YouTube, and email jackson.wright@scouting.org to share your favorite camp songs and videos of you reciting the Scout Oath and Law. Until next time, keep washing your hands, keep watering your plants, keep learning, and keep on scouting. Bye-bye!